Hi, I'm Lindsey.
And I'm Charlie.
And this is the Jug O Sip podcast.
You can find the Jug O Sip podcast on YouTube and Spotify every Monday and Friday.
And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow at Jug O Sip podcast on all social media.
Already quiet on the set, baby. Thank you, kitty.
All right, are you well adjusted?
Never, but go ahead.
I meant in your seat.
Oh. Well, yeah. How embarrassing.
Okay. All right,
Awkward.
Jug O Sip, episode 9. Eventually, I'm going to stop saying the number of these episodes out loud.
I've already lost track.
It's 9. Yeah,
Okay.
it's 9 of them.
Already.
Our cat is in the background. She's very talkative tonight.
She needs tons of attention today, so don't.
Yeah, she keeps staring at us and screaming. Yeah.
Like, since 5 a.m. Just, I've been playing with her all day. It's just, I can't.
Anyway, on today's episode, we decided to talk about something that I don't really talk about a lot in general.
Surprisingly.
It's very surprising. But we're going to talk about video games.
And the reason we're talking about it mostly is because we had a lot of video game themed ideas, but the thing is, Charles and I have a very different relationship with video games. Though we actively play them, it's a very different thing.
Yeah, I have a lot of ideas I personally have a lot of theories on how I think video games could be different or better or could have been worse or all kinds of things, but it's the kind of stuff that's like so unique to me that I couldn't talk to them. I couldn't talk about them with Lindsey or anybody without the person also playing them as much.
Well, it's the level of investment. He likes a lot of like story games, and I prefer to just casually play them. Like I very seldom play them, and when I do, I'm not entirely great at them, and it's just I just like do it to fuck around for a couple hours until I'm bored.
Yeah, you know what? Let's start there. Let's
talk about our different relationships with video games.
Yeah, you start. What's your relationship with video games?
So I've been playing video games on and off since I was probably about 3 years old. It started with my dad's like Atari system. We played things like Mappy.
Okay.
And I was super into it. Then we leveled up to our Nintendo, then our N64, then our PS2. You know, we had a bunch of different game systems growing up. And it was always the same for me. I would play them for either like every day for like for 6 month span, and then I just wouldn't play them at all for like 2 years. I'm very inconsistent with it. I don't really like story games because I get too bored. I don't like to focus too much on playing video games.
Right.
I like things like Mortal Kombat, Injustice, things that are like fighting games. I like things like Nobi Nobi Boy, which is a really weird game where a giant worm just eats people. The Beautiful Katamari, where you're just like rolling a ball of things. I like stupid, pointless stoner games that I could like smoke a couple of joints, sit down, not really think about. I get frustrated on adventure and story games because it's just too much shit. I'm not very skilled. I play Grand Theft Auto to crash cars and kill prostitutes. Like I don't, I'm not a serious gamer. I enjoy it. It's fun. I respect it, and I respect the art of serious gaming, but it's not my forte of something I put a lot of investment in.
As for me, I don't know if I could consider myself a serious gamer either, because I have a little bit more knowledge on how that community works.
Right.
A serious gamer, we're talking about somebody that's sacrificing, work shifts just so they can finish levels.
Like what you do for your video editing.
Yeah, I'll do that but I'm the kind of person that's more likely to make money editing a video than playing a video game.
It's an unwinding thing for you. Like you'll work for like 12 hours straight. So
yeah, for me,
when you can't sleep at night, it's your thing.
Yeah, for me, I like playing them. The reason I even got into video games is because as a kid, I was very sheltered. I was a latchkey kid, and I was the kind of kid that really enjoyed things like going out or skateboarding or athletics and stuff like that. I don't seem like that person at all now, but I actually wanted to do things like that as a kid. I wanted to get into martial arts, all kinds of activities, but my relationship, my home life, it just didn't allow for that. My mom didn't like me really leaving the house. She was very, she sheltered me a lot.
And you also grew up in the city, so it was hard for you to even get any outdoor activity.
Right, yeah, I grew up in New York, but I grew up in Harlem, so that having outdoor activity was a little bit different. Although I did grow up like down the street. I was literally 3 blocks away from Central Park North, and it's an amazing part of Central Park North.
Right.
But that being said, I ended up playing video games a lot as a way to escape the fact that I couldn't leave my room. And it started off as that. It started in the first video game and video game system that was ever bought for me was Pokemon Snap for the Nintendo 64.
That game was my jam as a kid, though.
Yeah, that was a great game. I must have played that like every day for at least like 8 or 9 months.
Yeah, I did for like about a year. For me, it was the same thing. Like,
yeah,
it was fan-fucking-tastic. I loved that fucking game. And then I picked it back up in 6th grade.
Right. I even remember the second game I ever got was Donkey Kong 64.
I never played that one.
Donkey Kong 64 was a legendary game.
We had Diddy Kong Racing, though. That one's a good one.
Diddy Kong Racing is a good one, but Donkey Kong 64, the thing that irks me about that game is that there's a part where you're playing as one of the other Kong characters, like the biggest Kong character they had.
Yeah.
And you have to fight the dragon for the second time. Like the first time you fight the dragon is Diddy Kong. The second time you have to fight the dragon as this other Kong character. I can never beat that level. I never got past it. To this day, I
hate those levels. They just piss you the fuck off.
To this day, I've never forgotten that level because I've never gotten past it.
Let me ask you a question that helps you get to know your partner very well. Who was your choice of character in Diddy Kong Racing?
Oh, I didn't play Diddy Kong Racing.
I thought you said it was a great game. I thought you said you played it.
No. It was a great game, but
you've never had it.
I didn't own it. I've seen other people play it.
Oh, that was my mistake then.
Yeah, my game in those days, my racing game of choice in those days was two. It was Cruising Exotica, yeah.
I never played that one.
Yeah, it was a Nintendo 64 release of this arcade game that you can only find at like Greyhound bus stops.
Oh, not even like your old mall 80s arcades that are still open? Not even those?
Nah, it's like when you saw one of those arcade boxes and it was loud and it had that weird like mono type sound quality. Yeah, it was like Cruising Exotica. Yeah, when it sounded like that. There was one of those games, and yeah, so I played the hell out of that. And then Mario Kart, the first Mario Kart, the original. Whew.
See, we played different games other than like, Pokemon Snap. Now, of course, you played Mario 64, which
yeah, I played Mario 64.
Now, another good way to get to know your partner. Did you throw the penguin off the cliff?
I didn't even know there was a penguin in the game. I legitimately.
You never made that level?
Here's the thing. I got a copy of Mario 64 that was used, and in those days you had cartridges that still had save games on them.
Oh my god!
So when I bought it, another person's save game was on it, so I kept hopping between the save games.
Oh, that's
so
hysterical!
I didn't even actually beat the game. I just kept running around, and if I couldn't get past a level, I just went to that other person's save game.
You want to know how I allegedly beat that game?
How did you do it?
And I say allegedly because I was 9 and lazy. So I really, again, it was the same relationship with video games. I just did it to fuck around. But I also, I was mostly doing it for the slides and to throw that annoying penguin off the cliff and chase that rabbit in that one level and go fuck around with that sea monster.
Right.
Dora or Dory or whatever the fuck her name was.
Yeah, I know that sea monster thing.
Fucking dope. I loved her. I just
underneath Peach Castle.
Yeah,
Peach Castle.
Yeah, where you can go open the moat and shit. That was fucking cool.
Yeah.
But I mostly just did it for fun. I was 9, not very skilled. I got my brother to beat all the star levels for me. I would just manipulate my brother into doing it.
Like most 9-year-old girls.
Listen,
video games.
I have gotten pretty far in life getting men to do things for me. That's all I'm saying.
Wow. Well, that being said, yeah. That's how I started my journey in video games.
Getting men to do things for you?
No. I didn't. I mean, if you count my dad buying them for me, I guess. But yeah, that's how it started. And, I would progress. I think I've gotten almost every single video game system from every generation from that point. Actually, before I had my N64, my sisters, specifically my sister Stephanie, who introduced me to video games in the first place. She's a big gamer.
Stephanie.
Yeah, she actually has a podcast too. She has 2, Wrestling in Color and
the Black Bitch Chronicles.
Black Bitch Chronicles, yeah.
Check them out. They're great.
Yeah, they're
both
very
on SoundCloud,
good.
right?
They're on SoundCloud and YouTube.
Yeah. So that's the Black Bitch Chronicles
and Wrestling in Color. Yeah, but she was the one who introduced me to video games, and she had a Super Nintendo when I was 3 years old. And what they would do is they would plug in one controller into a slot that wasn't being used during the game, and then she would play on another controller, and then it would make me think that I was playing and I was beating it.
That is the fucking cutest thing ever.
Yeah.
Like, someone might think that's a little bit mean, but it's also kind of sweet. Because she's trying to show you how it works, and she knew if you played, it would fuck up, so she was trying to teach you how to do it.
No, she wasn't trying to teach me nothing. She just wanted to play, but she didn't want me to annoy her because I would always be pestering her to play, so she just made me feel like I was playing. It's a really neat trick to put on a toddler.
It's like that trick. It's like that trick where you like take a juice box or a soda and you tape the medicine cup to the back of it and put the straw into the medicine cup.
I guess.
You get what I'm saying? Like, you're not really...
Yeah, they both seem cruel, just like that.
But the thing is, no, but it's not to be cruel. Like, the medicine thing is just like an easy way to get your kid not to have a tantrum giving him medicine.
Right,
you know? I mean, sometimes you gotta... Unfortunately, I hate it, but sometimes you gotta, like, lie to a kid to shut him up sometimes, like a small white lie like that.
But you know, so it started with Super Nintendo having somebody, you know, let me pretend I was playing to... Nowadays, I think the game I'm playing right now is Darksiders 3. I got it very late because these days I don't like buying video games for $60. I just think it's just not fiscally responsible for me.
And they always end up going on sale. We always I have you check like almost daily to see what is on sale and what isn't on sale.
Yeah, I'll usually check a game because, like I said, it's not fiscally responsible for me for how I manage finances. I don't like buying video games immediately because back in those days, if you bought a video game, it was the game, it was completed, that was it.
You got everything with it.
You would maybe you get an expansion pack 5 or 6 years later, but that was about it.
Didn't need anything
and
else.
That was rare. Nowadays, you're lucky to get a full video game in one hit. You'll get DLC that might have the rest of the game inside of it.
That's one reason I kind of lost interest in video games though too, because like I don't really like how they're being produced and managed now. It's kind of fucking annoying. I really
don't like where the industry of video games has gone in a lot of ways. There's other things about it that are really good because video games have contributed to other industries outside of it.
Well, like how they're giving job to actors. For example, like how Peter O'Brien did that one video game. What was that? You know the game.
Peter O'Brien is
Rand Otto's husband.
Oh yeah, he did a Call of Duty game.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's giving actors work. There's a lot of really good jobs and things that come out of it. But the issue is, I don't really like the overall how, as a consumer, I'm not pleased with how it's being managed.
Yeah, there's like predatory practices happening in the video game world
people
that are really like, you know, there's a whole thing with microtransactions and, you know, this the internet. Everybody's heard of the infamous microtransactions, and they're not necessarily bad, but the way that some developers handle them, like the way that Digital Extremes, who makes Warframe, the way they handle microtransactions, that's a hard word to say.
Yeah.
The way they handle it, I'm fine with how...
Microtransactions.
Yeah. I'm fine with how they do it because they feel ethical when they do it. But when it's something like, I mean, I guess EA, which I haven't had a lot of experience with EA in the last few years. Because,
not the last few years. I haven't fucked with them since like the early 2000s.
Yeah, because they don't make the games that I want to play.
Not anymore. No, like I used to play things like Sean Palmer snowboarding and.
Did EA make that?
I believe so. EA. I think it's like I believe that was the intro. It's like EA gets in the game or whatever the fuck the thing was.
Yeah, that was EA.
Yeah, I love that fucking
EA Sports.
I love the early EA Sports.
EA Sports. It's in the game. Yeah, that's what it was.
Oh, but yeah, no. I mean, I'm not pleased with how it's. I miss when you could just have the disc or the cartridge, and when you could like. And you didn't have to do digital downloads. And again, with microtransactions, it's really interesting that you mentioned those because I play those Choices games on my phone. I prefer stuff like that.
Yeah, that's
like those role play games and stuff. I love that.
And that's.
But the thing is, I'll spend $1.99 or $4.99 on diamonds or coins or whatever the fuck, and you don't even realize how much money you're spending. Sometimes you spend like $15 in a week.
Well, mobile games. I mean, the microtransactions on that are a little bit more acceptable because it's just the medium of how video games are played through the phone. That's a little bit different, so I'm willing to accept that. But when we're talking about consoles, and let me just say this: I've never been a PC gamer, and nowadays especially, I will not game on my PC because, look, I like video games a lot, and I need to separate that from my work. So anything, my desktop, which I'm using right now, has to be for work specifically. I'm not playing video games on this thing.
I use my phone for everything. I'll watch TV on my phone. I just don't want to fucking move from one spot. I like to be just portable and easy. And so I prefer to do things on my phone. Like little stupid games, like role play games, or little like pull the pen games, or little level up games, you know.
But you made an interesting point how like you got to digitally download a game. That's one thing
It's fucking frustrating
I
to
don't
me.
like about this current generation. Why is it that? And I know what the answer is.
We sound so old, by the way.
It's some industry bullshit. But why is it that when I want to play a video game, I gotta wait till the next day to play it because it has to finish downloading and installing
It takes
onto my
forever.
system?
Like,
I gotta plan a day in advance to play a video game.
We buy a game and we like go out for a walk for an hour, go get pizza or something. We come back, it's still fucking downloading.
And here's the thing. Not only the reason I gotta wait a day in advance, one is because I have to install the goddamn thing, but the other reason is because they make the games take up so much space.
Oh my God,
and the
right?
systems don't have enough hard drive space. And I know it's a way to digitally upsell you to buy the same
But it just
system
pisses
in a
me
different
off.
yeah.
Because I miss being able to pop in a cartridge, take it out, pop in a card. Whatever happened, just putting it on channel 3, putting in the cartridge and settling it. That's what I like. I miss the simplicity of that.
And it's a crapshoot too because there's the chances of you getting a video game that satisfies you completely is not high. Like they're
not very good most days.
Like I have a PS4 right now. If you go in the PlayStation Store, there are a ton of indie video games, things I've never even heard of, online. I don't know how good or bad they are.
There's not enough reviews or anything on it.
Yeah, there might not be enough reviews on it, but even if there aren't enough reviews, there's not enough content to explain if this would appeal to me.
Right.
So I have to wait for AAA games that have the kind of marketing to at least allow somebody to review it in a reasonable way. Like one of the YouTube channels I follow. In fact, the main one that I follow for video game reviews is ACG, and they're like a video game reviewer that the reason I like them the most is because they're very no nonsense. They don't do skits like Angry Joe does, which I like Angry Joe as well, but it's very informative. Then they talk about other stuff, like they'll review the kinds of like they'll do a whole section just on the sound or the graphics quality.
And
they'll compare it to different
it's all
systems.
Important because like you can get a game where you like maybe the aesthetic of it, but the story sucks or something. Like what was that? And like there was that one game you had. What was it called? That like it looked really pretty, but it was too white and it gave me a fucking headache.
That game was called Nier Automata.
Beautiful game, but the thing is, everything is fucking white, so it gives you snow blindness.
Let me just talk about that game. There's 5 colors in the whole damn game.
There's white,
there's
off-white.
white, gray, off-white, brown,
pink.
and black.
And there's like a light pink sometimes, like
on the skin tone,
yeah,
and that's
like
about
on a
it.
Blush.
There's 6 colors in the whole game, and then the soundtrack is so pretty.
Oh, it's.
But for the love of God, don't play that game if you have clinical depression. It will fuck up your day.
But I will say, as a girlfriend, because he and I are on opposite sleep schedules, I go to bed super early most days. I go to bed at like 9 to 10 p.m. and wake up at like 5 to 6 a.m.
Yeah.
And Charles goes to bed at 5 to 6 a.m. and wakes up at like noon or 1.
Right. And I'll be playing that game, and it'll
I
help
can
her
sleep right through it.
It'll
It's
help
so
her
nice.
sleep because if you want to sleep while playing the game, play Nier Automata. Not because it's a bad game. It's just too damn soothing.
very
It
calming.
soothes you off of the game.
But I enjoy that because a lot of your games are either really aggressively bright or aggressively loud. So I'm just like, I just need something I can like snooze through.
Yeah, and I still have a copy of that game.
It's
funny
not a
enough,
horrible game. It's just
No.
like the brightness and all the white gets to your fucking head if you're like me and you're very sensitive. Like I'm sensitive to fucking everything. Too much sound, too much bright. Like
Right.
I am such a pain in the fucking ass. I fucking if the air's slightly off, I can feel fucking everything and I hate it. I am just an overly sensitive person.
You also have epilepsy.
I do
too.
have epilepsy, so certain bright lights, but that's what makes me such a pain in the ass.
But that also is probably why you don't like certain video games, because of the overstimulation.
Well, I can't do third-person shooters.
Third person?
First person, I mean.
First person. Okay.
Like Halo, that's first person, right? I get that.
Yeah, well, you just see the gun. That's the first person.
Oh no, that straight up gives me migraines. Like my ex-husband used to try to get me to play Halo all the time.
Right.
And I'm like, babe, you don't fucking understand. I'm going to have a seizure right here, right now. You can't like.
On the real, I didn't really get into Halo. I wasn't into it. I have a couple
I
of
don't
friends.
find it that interesting. And Call of Duty either. Like I'm not really. Those games are never that.
I got a couple of friends out in LA, and back in the day, they used to play Halo, and one of them was like, he held the world record for Halo.
Dope.
Yeah. Shout out to them. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I won't drop your names.
Your voice.
Yeah, out there. I won't drop your names because I don't
know if you want to be dropped.
I don't know if you want to be dropped. So yeah, but yeah, I didn't really mess with Halo. But for me, my favorite kind of games are to play story-based RPGs.
Like, one thing I really loved watching you play, I couldn't really play it myself because I wasn't the skilled gamer that you are, was the God of War games.
The new one.
Specifically the new one, yeah.
Because you didn't watch me play the old ones.
I thought I've seen you play in one of the other ones, didn't I? Early on in that early relationship?
No.
Am I mistaking it for a different game? Okay.
It might be a different game. Because I beat all of those
Which
before
one,
we even
which
got
one have
together.
I seen you play? What's the one that I watched you play?
God of War, which is the fifth God of War. It's the fourth God of War, but there have been 6 games. But it's what's technically God of War 4, also known as Norse Mythology Dad Simulator.
Okay, first of all, we need to talk about that because there's a lot of hilarious things we can touch on about God of War because there's a lot of that game was like the one that impacted our lives the most.
Yeah, that game did something for our relation. Well, let me explain why. There's a
whole lot of things about this.
Now, for those of you who don't know, God of War is a long-standing franchise. We're talking about a franchise that came out of the PS2 era. That's when it started. That was when the first God of War game came out. And now it's on PlayStation. It's come a long way. And now it's come out for PlayStation 4. And Kratos, the main character, has gone on this long journey that has ended in him starting a new family and having a new son. He tragically lost his wife just before this recent game starts, but he still has his little boy, Atreus, who he refers to as boy. That's how he says it. That was pretty good.
He's on a never-ending quest to protect his son.
Yes. Like Xander from
I'm on a never-ending quest to save my girlfriend.
Which is funny because Xander was based on a video game.
Yeah,
he was
loop
based
back around.
He was based on Link from Legend of Zelda.
Yep, the Legend of Zelda, the Link character, which is not Zelda as people.
Yes,
it's like Zelda, the Frankenstein monsters thing all over again.
Zelda's the princess.
Yeah, Link is the little elf guy.
Yes, and they're both probably gay. That being said,
they're each other's beard.
They're each other's beard?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, back to God of War. Kratos has a beard now, and he.
A literal beard or a
literal beard.
Okay. Now I was like, that didn't what?
Well, Kratos is Spartan. If they decided to say that he was at least a little bit bisexual, I wouldn't be shocked.
It wouldn't be a lie. Like it would be a lie to say he was straight.
It would be historically more accurate because the Spartan army was full of gay men. It was mostly homosexual men.
God, that era was so cool of women and men though. They were fucking dope.
There was a lot of gay people. There was a lot of powerful gays back then. A lot of them. Alexander the Great was gay. You know.
Yeah.
I think
Alexander the Great was also a little fucked up.
I mean, yeah, but
that
that's
was just him as an individual.
Yeah, that's separate from him being gay.
I'm just saying, probably not the best gay representation to bring up is Alexander the Great.
Probably not. And my name.
I still got Elton John.
My middle name is. But he wasn't a world conqueror. Yes, he was.
Yes, he was. Don't you shut your fucking whore mouth, Elton. He lies. You're wonderful, and I love you.
Okay, so basically, you play as Kratos, and he's running around Midgard in a couple of different Norse mythology locations with his son Atreus. Eventually, you run.
Who's like what, like 12?
Atreus is 8.
Okay, that's even worse.
Yeah.
Okay, so go on.
And Atreus, the two of them eventually come across this chick named Freya, who they refer to initially as the forest witch because she doesn't reveal her name right away.
Such a good name.
Yeah, and essentially and spoilers for those who have not played the game, which I'd be shocked by this point if you haven't. But if you haven't,
like if you're like me and you haven't played it through, but you've watched it.
If you haven't, check it out. And also, we're at the 22-minute mark. Okay, so
we have plenty of time.
No, it's not that. It's just I want people to know we're about to spoil that game. Basically. Okay. The PS4 God of War comes down to the fact that Freya had a messed up son named Baldur, complete sociopathic asshole, can't feel anything. Literally, his problem is he can't feel anything.
And that's why he's so crazy.
So he basically, he's trying to get Kratos to make him feel, which it is kind of homoerotic. But
make me feel like a man.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to have sex with him. He wants to fight him, and they do.
Sorry, that's how fucking like bisexual, pansexual I am because I just got this thought of these two guys. I'm like, sorry, I got
Kratos and Baldur having hot Lindsey.
Oh shit!
Lindsey,
sorry.
You just went off into a different. Wow. Anyway, so. Freya's son, his deal is she did a spell on him that made him immortal. The problem is the side effect of this spell is that it took away his ability to feel anything.
Essentially, she did a spell to keep her child from being hurt, which is something a mother would want to do, but it's not a really reasonable thing to do. But the problem is, by taking away her son's ability to feel, she created a sociopath.
Yes.
Boulder was basically the first sociopath.
And Boulder became obsessed with matricide. He wanted to kill his own mom for her taking away his ability to feel. And he pretty much
had to.
He abuses Kratos and Atreus the whole time, and literally
He's a dick.
Kratos and Atreus are just like, we literally just want to dump some ashes off of a mountain. Like we don't know what the fuck your problem is.
Get rid of the remains of Atreus' mom.
Yeah, like my mom just died. I'm just trying to dump her ashes off of a mountain.
I'm not looking to help you kill your mom.
Really
I don't know
not
what the
trying.
Fuck your problem is.
Yeah, really not trying to get into a fight with you right now. But Boulder's not hearing it. He's kidnapping him. He's riding dragons. Punching people in the face, dragging them into the icy depths of hell, hallucinating at his mom's reflection in Helheim. He is all over the place.
Tripping balls in Helheim.
Yeah, they're tripping balls in Helheim. He is all over.
Okay, so now you need to explain the whole Freya and Atreus thing, because that has literally been the biggest part.
Well, this is the part that Lindsay and I don't agree on. At the end of the game, here's the deal. At the end of the game, Boulder tries to kill Freya. And Freya, as a mother, is going to let Boulder murder her. Kratos, who had already spared Boulder's life to not kill him just for the sake of killing him, decides to then kill him to protect Freya, because at that point, Boulder was so corrupt in the mind, there was no way that he was going to want anything else but to kill his own mother. And Kratos said, ironically, which is a really dark thing, Kratos said, he repeated his father Zeus's last words, which is, the cycle must end here.
Wait, Zeus's last words weren't, I want to go fuck that mortal girl disguised as a swan?
That was his second to last words.
Okay.
One of his last words was, the cycle must end here, or the cycle ends here, something of that degree. Okay. But basically Kratos was trying to say that the cycle of fathers, of demigod fathers being murdered by their sons, or parents being murdered by their children in the god world, needs to end. And the only way that'll end is if Kratos ends his life.
Okay.
But mainly he did it to save Freya's life, because she helped him and Atreus out on their journey.
She's a good person. She was a good, goddess.
And my thing is that, after that, Freya claimed revenge on Kratos and Atreus, and I thought that was a dick move.
Here's the thing. It's not that I agree with her reaction to them. I understand, if I were Freya, I understand their reaction and I wouldn't be mad at them. However, I do think, I do understand why she was prepared to let her child kill her, and I can explain why. The reason I understand that is because a mother's instinct is to protect her child, and if it means sacrificing yourself, that's obviously going to be the first thing.
That makes sense.
And second of all, she felt like she owed him her life. She took a part of his life. She ruined his by trying to protect him. And if I were a mother and I did that to my child, I would probably be like, okay, kill me. I fucking did you really wrong by accident, because I was trying to do right by you.
Well, here's the crazy thing. Kratos had the exact same thought. And after
That's a parent's instinct.
After he killed Baldur to defend Freya, and Freya claimed revenge on he and Atreus. Atreus asked him, why did she react? He questioned the situation, and the exact same thing that Lindsay just said, Kratos said. That's not the part I had the issue with.
That's right.
It's the fact that on the back end of all of that very relevant reasoning, this chick doubled down on her bullshit and decided that it was okay for her to see them as the enemy, when literally a good chunk of the 9 realms is destroyed and messed up because of a decision she made about her son. I mean, he literally punched Jormungandr, the world snake, in the face.
He punched the world snake
in the face just so he can fight Kratos.
Here's the thing. I totally understand why that would make you angry, and you are absolutely right to be angry. Let me explain why I'm not.
Yeah.
Again, mother's perspective. I'm not a mom. I'm a woman. I'm very connected to that part of me. I'm a very maternal person. So let me explain why I understand this. She's not mad at them. She's mad at herself. But despite being a goddess or demigoddess, she's not perfect. She's going to be flawed and make mistakes. She is in a very emotional place.
Yeah.
And it made her react in a way that even though she knew she was responsible to the whole thing, she needed to blame them. And that's wrong, but the reason she's doubling down on her bullshit is because, well, she's a goddess, a demi-goddess, and they're all kind of fucked up in the head.
Look,
and
on the real, I'm just like everybody else in that whole video game in general, I blame Odin.
Odin's a dick.
It's his fault.
Fuck
And the reason
Odin.
why Odin...
Fuck Zeus, too.
Both of them.
But both of them,
And the reason why it's Odin's fault is because, look, Freya's only crazy like that not the whole Boulder thing. She only got crazy enough to not understand what Kratos did for her because she has literally been cursed to stay in Midgard. She can't leave Midgard.
She lives under a turtle, which actually I could definitely pick up what she's throwing down living under that turtle. I could definitely live under that turtle.
This chick lives in a house that's underneath a turtle in a cave that is constantly...
turtle with a tree growing out its back.
Yeah, that's constantly flooding and deflooding all the time.
It's beautiful, but it's a pain in the ass.
All she does is garden and talk to pigs. You know, she don't got a lot going on.
That's only fun for a while.
What?
Well, like, I mean, what?
How many garden pigs have you spoken to?
Just one.
Okay, well...
First of all, I could live Freya's life. I could. It's great. Like,
but you couldn't live her life if it was because your husband told you to never. Like, let's. Here's
the thing. It's like the whole quarantine thing. I enjoy being isolated by choice. I do not want to do it by being a prisoner to somebody else.
Put it like this. Let's say you had a kid, like you had a husband like Odin, and you had a kid with him, and your kid hates you, and then your ex-husband said you can't leave New York ever.
I'd set him on fire.
And then somebody killed your kid, but it's been like 7 centuries or something.
No, first of all, I wouldn't let anybody do me like that because I'd start cursing them out until they gave me my way. You mean Odin? Yeah, fuck Odin. He could kiss my fucking dick. I don't give a fuck.
But it's Odin. He just leaves, and you can't follow him.
I'm just saying, like, I understand why she gone crazy because, like, I wouldn't like that either. I mean, I could live in her life as far as like living under the turtle, the nature thing. What I'm saying is, I couldn't be a prisoner, but. I get why she's crazy, and I get why... But the thing is, Freya, her overall being is good. She's a good core. She's not a bad person, which is why I'm not siding with either one of them. I mean, Atreus and Kratos did the right thing, but I understand why she would be upset.
Look, here's my thing. I don't know how many times I'm going to be... like, because I've been playing these games for years, and every time something like this happens to Kratos, like when he did this, the first thing I thought when he just let Freya go was Kratos. How many times have we been through this shit? Gods do not deal with these things well.
They're not good.
She's gonna come back and try to murder you or make you murder more of your family. You want to deal with this again?
Quit pissing off gods, dude.
Dude,
this is all you do.
Look, it was hard enough just getting to the top of that mountain. Now you done added world snakes and dead suns to the mix.
This game should be called Norse. The reason it's called God of War is because Norse Dad Simulator pissing off gods takes too much space.
Yeah, you know, you can't fit that comfortably on box art.
But that's my point. It's like, I don't necessarily agree with what Freya did, but I have sympathy for her. And I have empathy for her. And overall, I still love her character. She's still my favorite. Yeah. Because her flaws make her special to me. And though, I mean, I hope she doesn't kill Kratos and Atreus.
She'll probably try to, but it's Kratos.
But I hope that,
he's not easy to kill. Technically, he's died a couple of times already.
But I understand she's in a very bad place.
Well, the chick has been in a bad place. She live under a turtle. You can't get in a worse place than that.
First of all, yes, you can. You can live under something way worse, like a piece of shit or something.
Under a piece of shit?
I don't know.
Under the Brooklyn Bridge?
Listen, I've lived under a piece of shit before. I dated all of my exes. But I'm just saying, like, she's not right, but I have sympathy for her situation.
Yeah.
And we also should go on about how Atreus has changed our family.
Okay, so Lindsay's obsessed with Atreus because every time she hears Atreus talk, it just makes her menstruate.
It makes my baby fever go through the roof. Like, I want to adopt that fucking boy so bad. Like, he'll go into a battle, and every time he's in danger, or anytime Kratos is in danger, I literally hear this little boy go, "Father!" and I start lactating. Like, it's so, I mean, I don't know what it is. First of all, I want to be a mom really bad. I'm not in any place to do it yet, but, like, I've been, like, my biological clock is literally imploding, and I just walk around following Charlie around going, "Get me pregnant." Get me pregnant. Why am I not pregnant yet? Get me pregnant.
So when she hears Atreus, when I play that game and she hears Atreus, it's just like, get him away from those monsters. What are you doing?
Like, you're putting our boy in danger.
He's fighting golems.
And I mean, and obviously, I mean, I want a baby in general, but like, I've always wanted to be like a boy mom. Like, I love all kids, but like, I always have the best time when I could just like play outside and you know, get rowdy with my nephew and stuff like that. Right. I don't know. It's just always been something I've leaned towards. I always thought I'd be a great boy mom, but
yeah, that's our relationship with God of War. You know, just as an example of how video games have influenced both of us, and then me personally,
and also how weird our lives are.
Yeah, our lives are pretty strange. You know, we found out a way to do a podcast inside of our apartment during a quarantine in Brooklyn. So that's not exactly normal.
It's not exactly special either, though.
I don't know. I mean,
any dumb fuck with a mic could do a podcast.
But there's a lot of famous comedians out there that have way more resources that aren't doing it. Except for Joe Rogan. He's doing great. Shout out to Joe Rogan, by the way.
Joe.
And Joey Diaz.
Yeah, I love Joey
and Theo
Diaz.
Vaughn.
I mean, listen,
but
if you're already an established comedian and you don't have to have a podcast, I mean, when you just choose to sit all around and like beat off the whole quarantine.
Oh yeah,
like I mean,
that's a perfectly reasonable.
My ideal life is to get so
quarantine.
successful doing a podcast or something of the like, where I don't have to do much, and I can spend the rest of my free time eating briars, smoking pot, and beating off.
Yeah,
that sounds great.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. The classic Ben Affleck lifestyle. The Ben Affleck special, as we like to say. You sit around on his couch beating off and eating Breyers ice cream.
I'll see also the Brad Pitt special.
Oh, the Brad Pitt? What'd he do?
Well, Jennifer Aniston said one of the reasons, because she and Brad Pitt both smoke weed.
Yeah.
But she said all Brad wanted to do was smoke weed and like chill and like lay on the couch. And first of all, I don't know why that's a problem.
Yeah, I don't understand what the big deal is. He's Brad damn Pitt.
Not out,
what the fuck?
He's Brad Pitt. He's not out like, well, later he was, but he's not out at that point cheating on you. Like,
yeah, well, yeah, that happened. But you don't know. He could have just got frustrated.
I mean, I'm not judging Jen. I mean, maybe he was frustrating and maybe he wasn't doing dishes and shit or whatever and like helping around the house. Because I get it. Like, you can do shit like that too much. But I mean, it depends on the levels. Like for me, I mean, I do that, but I also like do dishes and clean the house and get up at 5 a.m. and do work. Like, I can be a productive pothead. Some people just can't be a productive pothead.
But that's my problem. He was Brad Pitt. If he wasn't a productive pothead, then we wouldn't be talking about him right now.
Well, that's what I mean. It's like some people are like, some people have made a whole career out of it. That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, the man has been in lots of very, very good movies. He's a very accomplished, excellent actor. I still haven't seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I mean, I kind of don't want to because
I haven't seen that one either.
I heard how they disrespected Bruce Lee in that, and nothing against, you know, any of those actors, but I just...
Well, no, they're just trying to do their job. They're trying to work.
Yeah, I haven't seen the movie, but, you know, Quentin Tarantino, at the very least, should have known better to treat him that way. Again, I have not seen the movie. I will check it out one day, and we will come back, and we will judge that.
We will do another thing. But yeah, basically, what I'm saying is my mom always told me I couldn't make a living just, like, focusing on pop culture, smoking weed, and chilling all day, but, you know, that's what I'm trying to do. And, I mean, if I make it, I'm just gonna, you know.
Well, you know, podcasts weren't a thing in the late 80s and early 90s.
That boomer mentality never changes.
yeah. Which we're gonna do an episode about that at some point.
Yeah.
The baby boomer mentality, but you know, we were talking about video games. we went from that to Brad Pitt.
This is why we give ourselves an hour.
By the way, Brad Pitt, if you're listening to this, hopefully you will one day.
I hope so.
Please do me a favor and find your way into a video game.
We would love that.
Because, you know, you're an excellent actor. You have a great voice.
I want to see Johnny Depp do more video games and stuff like that, too. I don't know if he's ever done one, but, like, I want to see him do stuff like that.
Yeah, but Brad, you know, video games technology has progressed to a point where if you wanted them to copy your likeness exactly, they can do it. They can definitely do it. So, Brad, you know, get yourself in a video game. It doesn't have to be anything serious. It could be like a Mario Kart game or Brad Pitt and Super Smash Brothers.
We literally do have the audacity to ask celebrities to do things. We'd be like, you guys need to try this. It would be great for you.
You know what would be great? If Brad Pitt did Tyler Durden for Mortal Kombat. That would be fucking awesome.
But it would be even cooler if you could also get Edward Norton to do it, to do the...
to do both. To do the narrator.
To the Jack role and the...
So the narrator and Tyler Durden as characters in Mortal Kombat?
Oh, yeah.
That would be great.
That'd be so... Oh, God. Oh, God.
Oh, my God.
If you guys do that, if creators of Mortal Kombat, if you do that...
NetherRealm Studios. NetherRealm Studios.
Pay us.
Get on it. First of all, don't act like we didn't say that first.
We will literally scream at you. You have to pay us if you do this.
Second of all, I tell you what, reach out. If you put Brad Pitt's Tyler Durden in Mortal Kombat, I guarantee you, we will interview anybody you want us to promote that game.
I also might actually squirt.
You gonna squirt?
Oh, that'd be great.
That's an interesting response to a video game.
I have very interesting responses to things.
Speaking, okay, let's talk on that. Some people take video games too far.
I just cross the line with my feelings. Like I have extreme like feelings about everything. So like I'll say some crazy shit. Like it's not.
I've heard stories. In fact, there was this show on Spike TV, I believe, that was called 1,000 Ways to Die. I do not know why that show is not on anymore.
First of all, I love Spike TV, but I think it was on Spike. I can't remember. But 1,000 Ways to Die is great.
That was an amazing show.
It was on Netflix for a while when
yes.
Netflix, like in 2010s.
It was brilliant. If anybody's listening and they know how to get a hold of the DVDs of that show, please comment and let us know.
It's one of our favorite shows, and we haven't actually got a chance to watch it together. I used to watch it with my first girlfriend, Emily.
Yeah. And by the way, you can find us literally anywhere at this point. We're on like 90% of the podcasts that are out there now. We're on YouTube. We're going to be on Vimeo soon, as I get around to that bullshit.
Yeah, we got a lot of shit we have to do still.
Not the Vimeo's bullshit. I mean the bullshit of me having to upload everything we did to Vimeo.
We just like to complain. Like the tediousness of anything makes us bitch. We're just like that. It's fine.
Right. But anyway, on 1,000 Ways to Die, there was an episode where one of the victims of this show, he was a video gamer, and he did a very long session of online video game tournament. And the way that he did this, he set up a specialized video game chair that had a built-in porta potty in it. He had food that he pre-prepared. I think there was a microwave nearby where he would just toss a hot pocket in there, heat it up real quick, and eat it.
So what could go wrong with that?
Well, when he finally won the video game tournament after I think like 3 days, and don't quote me on this because it's been a few years since I've seen this episode.
A lot of time to not
move.
He
played for 3 days straight. He stood up after playing this game, after winning the tournament, and a blood clot shot from his legs into his heart and killed him instantly.
My God, so not aneurysm, just like a heart attack thing.
He basically induced his own heart attack because his legs weren't getting enough oxygen.
Yeah, this is why I make you go on walks all the fucking time.
Well, I don't play video games like that.
No, but you sit at your desk and work all the time. And that's why I'm like, you got to get up every few hours. I make him get up. I'll be like, Charles.
But even then, I'll get up on my own and just check on you, especially if you're napping. I'll go over and just rub your back while you're napping.
That's what I do in my free time. I just nap and watch TV.
Yeah. But some people can take video games way too far, and I'm not that dude. But I'm
just saying, I always worry about you working and sitting too long because of that shit. That's fucking crazy.
For those of you out there who hear this and want to play video games with me, I'm just going to tell you right now, I am at best a very skilled casual. I'm not a hardcore gamer. I'm definitely not a competitive gamer. I don't see the point in it, and it's not that I don't respect competitive gamers.
If
I
you
absolutely
do that,
do.
that's fucking awesome. But we're just not those people.
I absolutely respect you if you're a competitive gamer, especially if you're an esports guy like that. That's a skill by itself that I will never strive to achieve.
We play video games like people's stoner parents, basically. If you had parents that just smoked weed and occasionally played video games, that's kind of the kind of people we act like.
I am not an online gamer. I do not play online multiplayer games, with the only exception being Warframe, because that's more cooperative as opposed to competitive. I don't like competing online.
Yeah, that's the thing. When I was doing my gaming thing on YouTube, people were always like, "What's your gamer name?" or whatever.
Yeah, they're always asking about your Twitch.
The thing
which we never figured out.
The thing
Twitch.
is, I just want to clarify that right now in just one big swoop here. I don't have a Twitch.
Yeah.
I don't do online gaming. I'm not going to pay to do online gaming, and you know why? Because I don't take it seriously enough. I suck and I can't keep up with you. And two, I honestly, and it's not you, it's me. I honestly, and I cannot stress this enough, don't give enough of a fuck to do it. I barely like talking to people. I interact with people online all day.
Yeah. I'm
always answering people's advice. I'm doing tarot readings. I'm talking about my work. I'm constantly plugged in all the time. I'm just going to completely keep it real with everybody. That's the kind of person I am. I'm so plugged in all the time. I'm sending emails. I'm on Facebook. I'm talking to this person, that person, trying to network for the channel.
Yeah, Lindsey's the social media manager.
I'm just social
Sip.
person of Jug O Sip in general, because
Right.
Jug O Sip in general, Charles does not like talking to people at all.
I mean, look, okay, I could do it. Like, I have enough social skills to be able to do it.
You're not into it.
But I'm not the kind of person that'll openly go out and network. Like for example, I used to go to clubs every once in a while. I did terribly going to clubs.
And I always did great. And the thing is with this thing, you have to constantly remain plugged in. People are always like getting in my face because I'm on my phone, but I'm basically doing PR, social media, advertising, marketing for my own damn fucking self and our own channel. So like, I'm always talking to people. I'm always plugged in. So to be completely real, it's not that I don't love you guys out there listening. The thing is, when I have a second to not be fucking staring at my phone and I can actually stare at the TV or take a nap or do whatever the fuck I want to do, I don't want anybody in my face. Hell, if Charles is in my face too long, I'm like, can you go fucking stand over there?
And she said that to me. She's made me stand in corners before.
That is not fucking true.
That's true. Okay, you're right.
You made me sound like a
no. She never made me stand in the corner, but anytime she was just like, and she's not that mean. She's just like, Charles, I just need some space. Could you go over there, please? And I'll pretend that she said it mean, and I'll go stand in the corner.
I'm never mean to you. I'm always just like, Charles, I love you so much. You're my sweet boy. But I'm going to need you to stand over there for 5 fucking minutes because I can't. I have so many people in my face all the fucking time that like when I play video games, it's so I can fucking shut down and, you know, crash cars into walls and go on killing sprees. Like I don't.
Right.
First of all, you don't want to play with me. We'd play like together in Grand Theft Auto or something, and I would just be like going, fuck the police, fuck the fucking police, and crashing into poles. I have footage of me doing this on my YouTube channel.
That's true.
Literally, my entire Grand Theft Auto game is just me driving around screaming, fuck the police, and crashing into walls.
Yeah, that video did really well.
You do not want to play video games with that bitch. I am annoying as fuck. I go around trying to hit on girls. Like, it's stupid. Like, I don't care.
And as for me, I don't like playing video games online because, first of all, I don't like being called the N-word by 12-year-old racists in other states.
I get called the N-word by 12-year-old racists in another states.
Yeah, something about that, not appealing to me. You know,
something about an 11-year-old in India calling me the N-word or saying some sort of misogynistic shit at me.
You're not going to be screaming racial slurs at me during my off time. You're not going to do that.
With me, it's like little kids threatening to rape me. Like, I don't need that shit.
Right. Yeah, I'm good. This is why I don't play.
It's just too much goddamn stress.
Yeah. Plus, you got like they're popular games like Apex and Fortnite. I just never got into them because I don't like online gaming. For me, it's a very personal experience. I play video games so that I can think freely, so I can clear my mind.
You have to also know we're very private people, so when we're not doing business on our phones or like socializing on Facebook or whatever, we're not really around anybody. We don't really.
In addition to that, I also, it's not just to free my mind too. You know, I like to play video games. Sometimes I'll play them for research because I'm not just
for stuff like this, for example.
Yeah, I'm not just a motion graphics artist and podcaster. I'm also a writer. And I've been
filmmaker.
I've been working on a few stories that I've been struggling to figure out. And like this one game that I have called Persona 5, it's been doing very well. Game? No, I don't.
Oh, but okay, then you play that game a lot for research then, because I thought you liked it.
No. What you've seen me is many attempts of playing that game.
You don't like it though.
I can't.
Oh, is that the vampire game?
No. That's Code Vein. Vein I like a lot.
That one looked weird, but it actually ended up being better than we thought it would be.
Persona 5, well, they're both anime games. That's why they look similar.
That's why I mixed them up. That's my bad.
Persona 5 is a very good game. It is just not a game that vibes with me, and the only reason I got that game is because I'm planning on writing a story that references Jungian technology. I mean, psychology.
Jungian technology would be cool.
Oh my God.
Someone get Elon Musk on that.
Get on that, Elon.
Elon, come on.
So, but the game had themes of Jungian psychology, and I wanted to write a story in future based on Jungian psychology. And I just wanted to, like, what I'll do if I'm writing a story and I find a story in the world that had similar themes, I experience that story to just see how another author handled similar themes. And I wanted to do the same with Persona 5. The problem is I don't like the turn-based gameplay. I don't like the fake stealth mechanic thing that they do.
Actually, if you think about it, most of the pop culture stuff we're doing is mostly for research anyway.
For the most part.
Yeah, like, I mean, stuff we already like, but we dig deeper. So, like, when we're doing all of this, it's mostly, like, Charles and I are not like a normal couple. We sit around talking about Jungian psychology.
Yeah.
And talking about why we hate Freud.
Yeah.
And all this shit. Like, we're not.
Yeah, we're a Jungian. For those who
we are a
Jungian household.
We
are
have
a Jungian
none of
family.
that fucking Freudian shit in here. The only there are a couple of Freud things we do agree with, like the ego, super ego, id stuff. That's That's
yeah, but
helpful.
a lot of that has been assessed and you know been gone over and reassessed. Look on the real, it's hard to take somebody that suggested brushing your teeth with cocaine seriously.
Yeah, when you see a man putting his face into piles of cocaine, you know, most of those guys are like call Dave and hang out in clubs that you don't want to go to.
Plus, it is what Anna Freud did to Marilyn Monroe.
Oh, and don't even get me started on Edward Bernays.
Yeah, and then Edward Bernays, his fucking...
That whole family's fucking fucked up. Like, fuck the entire Freudian family. We are a Jungian household, just like Niles Crane and Lilith Crane.
Yeah, nothing against Sigmund Freud. I'm glad that he got into the profession he did, because ultimately, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have Jung. But on the real... he did a lot of damage to culture,
he was way off
to
base.
Western culture.
And he was way off base with his psychology. Be sure, we needed him to be the roots of things. What the fuck are we doing?
So back to Persona 5. The reason we even brought up Freud is because, I'm not into that game because I bought it for work reasons. I bought it for research, and it's not the first game I bought for work reasons. For example, I bought a game called Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, that was
one of my favorite story-based games, because as a writer, I wanted to get a better pin on how to write a story whose main character was female, but it was action-based. And I wanted to learn how to write a strong female in a very weird situation. And if you haven't played Horizon Zero Dawn, especially if you're a woman, for the love of God, play that game. It is an excellent video game. It also has a feminist message to it at the end. It's got a maternal slant to it. I'm not going to tell you what the ending is, because if I do, it'll ruin the game. It was an excellent video game. Please play that game.
I love that about you, though, that you'll play games with like female energy, so you can get the idea of writing feminine energy characters, or female characters.
Oh, it's even deeper than that.
I enjoy that, because most guys won't put that much thought into it. One
of my favorite video game series of all time is Mass Effect. I've played through and beaten all 3 Mass Effect games 4-ish times.
We gotta get one of my friends that play Mass Effect on here at some point, so you guys can talk about that, because I don't play that game.
Yes, the first time I played Mass Effect, I played all the way through as a male, a black dude. I really wish that they had the courage to because there's a lot of talk about racism in that game, and it's future racism. It's fantastic racism. So I guess when you got aliens that look like literal Jello, it's hard to pay attention to black dudes next to you. So that being said, I can see why they didn't go into that.
When people wish for racism to end, we need to be specific that it ain't shit like that.
Right. I just wish that they went in that direction with it, because representation for black people in video games has been a problem since the beginning of the industry. I mean, I'm a person that's getting into character design. I do a lot of 3D modeling work. In fact, our Jug O Sip logo that you're probably looking at right now is a 3D model that I made and animated myself. One of the problems in 3D modeling when it comes to models is the fact that black people are underrepresented. A lot of the programs,
just like in everything else,
a lot of the programs that are designed to make hair simulations, they have to be messed with pretty, like you have to go in and change around the metrics of those simulations just to get hair textures that look like a black person's hair texture. That being said, I played Mass Effect. They got the hair wrong in that too. And because the only way you could get a low fade or a dark Caesar is if you have what's quote unquote no hair, and it's because bald is a hairstyle, but no hair looks like a black person's low fade, which is crazy to me. Still to this day they do this,
and I'm surprised they still do that. Like back in the, you expect that shit back in the 90s, but like in the early 2000s, but not this.
Well, it's
20 years or more later.
To play devil's advocate, I don't necessarily believe that there's a bunch of racists working at these video game industries.
It might just be figuring out the texturing too. I don't know, because
it's not that
it's hard.
It's not that. It's just the fact that because of the history of black people doing their best to break into industries in the West, and every step of the way we've been disenfranchised.
Yeah,
you get to a point where that many years, that many centuries of disenfranchising black people is going to lead to an industry that doesn't have a lot of black people a part of it.
It bleeds into the pores of the fucking whole thing.
Right, exactly. But that being said, I played Mass Effect the first time all the way through from 1 to 3 as a black man. I played it the second time as a black woman. Totally different experience.
Really?
Because she was a woman, they reacted to her differently. The characters, I mean, not all of them did, but the characters reacted differently. I think she was gay actually. She had a lesbian lover. That was reacted.
She was
different.
at least in the queer spectrum,
Yeah, no, she was gay. She was gay from the first game to the
Like
last.
straight lesbian, like straight
No,
up
she was
lesbian?
straight up lesbian.
Okay, that's what you said. You think she was gay. That's why I was like, at least at the very least, she's in the queer spectrum.
I think I played one playthrough where she ended up dating a character named Garrus Vicarian. He's male, but he's also an alien.
I mean, hell, even being a lesbian's on a spectrum. Queerdom is its own like spectrum. It's its own thing.
Right.
You know, just be whatever the fuck you want to be.
Right, but but she for the more, I think I played one or two games with that where she was straight, but the first time I played it through, she was gay.
That's
but
interesting.
you know, I played through both genders because I knew these. I didn't know this. I believe that if the writing was as good as I felt it was in the first playthrough, I figure, well, if these writers would account for the gender switch, then if I play as a woman, then I'll get a different video game experience. And I was pleasantly surprised that I did. It wasn't a huge difference, but it was different enough.
This is a great jumping off point into the fractured butthole.
Yes, let's jump off into the fractured butthole.
The reason I say that is because you and I have both played that game. You played it all the way through. I've only played it in pieces.
Yeah.
But my character is a white girl. I mean, she almost looks almost identical to Wendy Testerberger.
She looks a lot like Wendy Testerberger.
But you know, me as a South Park character as a child kind of looks like Wendy Testerberger.
Yes.
And yours is a black character.
Black character.
That just looks like Token.
He looks like a combination of Token and Butters.
Well, because you're kind of like a combination of Token Butters. That's basically like if those are your. But I'm kind of like a combination of Wendy Testerberger and who was it?
Sharon.
Probably Mr. Slave.
Okay, Wendy and Mr. Slave combined. Two
Jesus
good friends
Christ.
in the show, by the way.
Well, they're my favorite characters.
Yeah.
They're great. But anyway, that game is really fucking interesting because they account for race in that too. I mean, I haven't gotten far enough in it to see if they account for being a girl too, but they literally consider, like, when you pick your race at the beginning of a game, that you pick easy mode and hard mode, and easy mode is white.
Yeah.
And hard mode is black.
Yeah.
Your game is affected by being black or white. It's like its own like fucking
and that's not a joke either. Like that
no,
game,
we're like fucking dead ass. But I like that because it points out a hard reality about what's actually going on.
And I'm not offended by that because South Park, that's the thing with them, which is why Matt Stone and Trey Parker are a couple of my heroes, because they point out the kind of hypocrisies in society through a comedic lens.
They make offensive things, but the thing is, the offensive things are not meant to be offensive. It's all context based. It's pointing out why it's wrong. It's very much like how Mel Brooks did his movies.
Right, exactly. So when I saw that, I was like, are they legitimately going to make this game harder for me because I'm a black person?
And they
legitimately
did. They weren't kidding.
My playthrough is significantly harder than Lindsey's.
Yeah, and he's played through as my character just to see and compare it, and
like it is way harder.
And it's fucking crazy. And I mean, like, and I also chose the lightest skin tone because I am literally like the lightest skin tone.
Right.
I'm like vampire white.
Yeah, you're very pale. Yeah, but that's
like I'm like Elvira without the makeup.
Right, but that's funny because like little things like that don't happen enough in video games. What?
Hand me your notebook real quick.
Oh, the notebook. Oh yeah.
So I was trying to be
discreet. It's all good. I mean, you know,
we're keeping it real. I just want to write down because I said Elvira, and I want to keep that in mind maybe for an episode.
Oh yeah,
we discuss an Elvira type thing. Because I did show you that movie recently. So.
Lindsey recently showed me Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, and we're going to talk about that at some point.
Yeah, that's our shit.
That's a very good movie. It's much better than it makes itself seem. But you know, back to the video games.
We do this.
You know, I love video games. I've been playing them my whole life. I'm probably gonna keep playing them. I only say probably because I'm looking at the next generation.
We
the
don't
PS5.
know how they're going to evolve. We might not like where they go because I'm not pleased.
The PlayStation 5 and Xbox One X. First of all, when I had an Xbox 360, I predicted that the Xbox One that was coming after was not going to be a system worthy of a purchase for me. I felt it was going to be a bunch of games. It was either going to be bad games, or games that I didn't want, a handful of exclusives based on games that I thought should have ended 2 games ago, like Gears. Like they got more Gears of War sequels, and it's like I was done. I was done with the Marcus Phoenix saga.
Shit, those have been going on forever.
Ago. I'm good.
My ex-husband played those. I got him the Gears of War edition of Xbox for
with the red.
It was sick.
Yeah. It was black with the red gear on it and the skull in it.
That actually was its own story in itself. We had to bust our ass to get that for him.
Tell that story real quick. We're coming on the hour mark.
It's
but
actually
tell
a nice
that
video
story.
game. It's a very nice video game story. So basically, Greg, my ex-husband, that was his first name.
Yeah.
He wanted this game. and that edition specifically. And my mom went to Sam's Club and snuck it like after we landed in town to visit them from Arizona, and we went to West Virginia to visit them, and she snuck it and gave it to my cousin Shane to hide it for us. Because my mom always did this. If she got you a big gift that you wanted really bad, she acted like she didn't get it. Like, you know, typical moms fucking with your head.
She was a gift mom.
So we opened all of our presents, and like, you know, Greg didn't get his thing, and he was all like upset because, you know, he was hoping he was going to get it, you know?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden my cousin Shane came in dressed as Santa and brought him that.
Oh, brought him the Gears of War edition.
He rang the doorbell and
360?
came to the house dressed as Santa to bring him that, just to give to Greg his.
Oh, that's adorable.
It was really sweet.
Really
and like,
nice.
that's
really sweet.
That's really wholesome, I think. But
that's very wholesome.
I like stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that was, you know.
Yeah.
How long those games have existed, those Gears of War games.
No, but
that was like 2011 when I was married to him.
That's precisely it. I didn't see the point in continuing that storyline. I'd rather listen to someone explain it to me than play through it. I just had enough of whatever the Xbox had to offer.
It's sort of like a movie franchise. After a while, you're just like, okay.
Yeah, this is why I stopped watching Terminator sequels after Terminator 3. Like, I don't need any more.
I stopped watching Pirates of the Caribbean, and I'm a huge Johnny Depp fan, but I'm just like, after like the first couple, I was just like, first of all, the only one I really genuinely like is the first one.
I like the second one.
The second one was cool. They focus more on Will and Elizabeth in that one, and I don't like them.
You know, it's also similar to how, like, for me, I stopped watching Marvel movies after Iron Man 1. I checked out Guardians of the Galaxy 1. That was good, nothing more than that. In between those two movies, I haven't seen anything.
I basically gave up on comic movies in general after Dark Knight.
The reason why
I just don't care anymore.
And for those who are asking, the reason why is because I'm 28 years old. I've been watching Marvel movies since
we were like 12 or younger.
I've been watching Marvel movies since New Line Cinema when they were before they were actually Marvel.
Like Tobey Maguire Spider-Man days.
No, I was in there before that. New Line Cinema. We're talking Blade 1. That's 99.
Yeah, that's true. It's even sooner.
when Marvel was trying to make money off of their properties by selling them to any studio that would purchase them. We talking back when Sony first got the rights to the X-Men. I've been watching them that long. So by the time Iron Man 1 came out, I was burned out. I couldn't do it anymore.
I'm not shitting on comic movies either, or people who enjoy them. It's just, first of all, I've never been a big comic person in general. First of all, I'm more of a DC girl, so I don't really give a fuck about Marvel anyway. No offense. Stan Lee's great as a human being. He's missed. Obviously, I respect him a lot. But
rest in peace, Stan Lee.
Yeah, I mean, I had a lot of love for him as a human being, but I'm just not a Marvel girl. I've always been DC, but I'm never. And
speaking of which, rest in peace, Bill Finger and Bob Kane. And shout out to Athena.
Athena Finger.
Athena Finger. We've met in person before.
I've not met her yet. I have not met her yet.
Athena Finger's great. Shout out to Athena.
But yeah, so it's not that I don't love. Like, for example, I'm more of a Batman person. It's not that I don't love the movies. It's just I don't like what they've done with a lot of the characters. I'm not pleased in the direction they've gone with Harley Quinn.
Oh, absolutely not.
That's its own episode. We'll go into that. We're both, we're just not happy. And Harley was one of my favorite characters.
She continues to be one of mine.
The only good Catwomen, I would say I felt like there were, because I wasn't even a big fan of the Julie Newmar version. I was a big fan of the Michelle Pfeiffer and the Eartha Kitt versions. I'm very picky. I will say this. I'm deeply critical. I fucking know it. I'm a pain in the ass about it, and I'm fucking annoying about it. So I don't want to just be like, I don't want to be that asshole. I don't think it's childish to like comic movies. It's just like, it's like the Star Wars franchise. Love them, but I'm not happy with the direction they've gone, so I'm just not really following them anymore.
Yeah, no,
it's not to shit on that life and the people who love it. It's just, it's not my fucking jam, and I think they could be doing better.
Well, that being said, this is why I don't know if I'm gonna get the PS5 or the Xbox One X or what, or
we don't know which direction we're gonna go on the next system.
What is it called? The Spectrum or
oh, bitch! If you don't know, I don't fucking know.
Whatever the fuck the next one is gonna be, I don't know if I'm gonna do it because the PlayStation 4 was a brilliant system. It did not have nearly enough games for me.
No.
The Xbox One X or the Xbox that exists right now, the Xbox One.
I've never been a big Xbox person in general.
It's not a system that was up to my standards. I saw that come. I saw that shit coming the way I saw Destiny bullshit video game at that E3 when they promised 10 years of game content on a console that was going to change in 5.
Mad about that.
I'm still mad about that. I didn't buy that game, but you don't make promises like that to people.
Well, yeah, I mean,
you
even if
do
you
that.
don't buy the game, you don't want to see other fans and other consumers get fucked over. That makes me mad. That's unethical. It really is. It's just not. It's a false. promise to your fans.
Yeah, no, it was a fault. Yeah, and you know, anybody who still plays Destiny, if you enjoy the game, fine. Especially Bobby Lee, he plays a lot of Destiny, or he played a lot of Destiny.
We're not here to shit on anybody's whatever, but we're just pointing out this. Again, this channel's just us pointing out our opinions about stuff. If you disagree, it's cool. Whatever.
Yeah, we don't mind. In fact, we encourage it. If you disagree, please engage us.
As long as it's in a respectful manner. We're like, look, like, don't come at us in an aggressive way, because at the end of the day, you don't have to come at us aggressively. You can be like, I don't fucking like this. Let me tell you why.
Because we would love to engage you, you know, respectfully as well.
Even
but,
if we don't agree, we'll be like, okay with you telling us how you feel.
And you probably have a good reason not to agree with us.
And that's okay. I mean,
and we would love to hear that.
And maybe we can be educated on certain subjects better. We're totally open to the idea that we could very well be wrong, and we're willing to change our opinions if it's a reasonable thing.
We have an entire segment on this channel called Stonewalling.
And we try
or
not
the stone wall.
And we both have been guilty of that in our lives, and we try not to.
The way we're trying to work on, the way the both of us are trying to work on removing that from our character is by creating these segments where we talk about moments where we stonewalled, chose to experience the thing that we stonewalled initially, and how and whether or not it changed our mind.
And we try to be better every day as people. We try if there's something we can improve on, or even if it's just something of like, hey, did you know there's a new phrase that is more politically correct for this particular thing?
Right.
Please educate us. We're not here to offend anybody in any way. So if we say something that might come off offensive, that's never our intent.
No, it's not.
That's why we like to say that too, because it's like we always want to be clear that we're here to have fun.
Yeah. The whole point of this podcast is to
make everyone happy and be comfortable.
Well, you know, I mean, you can't make everybody happy.
Well, you know, our viewers, we want our viewers to be happy and comfortable, and we're not here to make anybody upset.
Yeah, the whole thing with us is we did this podcast for similar reasons to why Joe Rogan does his podcast. He wanted to talk to interesting people. We wanted to talk to interesting people, and we just wanted to share the interesting things that we feel and think about every day.
And it put an interesting light on different things that maybe you may not know about, or maybe just see it differently.
Which is why we did this episode about video games, because it's an important aspect of both of our lives. It's a very important aspect of my life. It certainly has gotten me through some mental health and therapy issues, and we're definitely going to do a part 2 because there's a lot more to say about this, but we didn't want to, you know, we're at the 1 hour mark,
and we have so many video game episode ideas. We just wanted to touch on the general idea of video games and our relationship, because like I said, we have a different relationship with them, and
I certainly have a lot of theories. Like, I have theories about how Mass Effect 3 ended, why I enjoyed it. I have theories about Spider-Man Web of Shadows.
We have a whole thing about Harley Quinn and her Arkham games, like, and how, like,
well, that was more about the character.
Yeah, but it has different.
But yeah,
we can touch on that. There's a lot of things we can touch on that are video game related. So I mean, if you guys even have any games you want us to discuss or play to discuss, let us know. I mean, we're always open to new ideas.
Yeah, please do. But that being said, we're at 1 hour 6 minutes.
Yeah, thanks so much for listening, guys.
Final remarks.
Thanks again for listening. I hope you guys had fun listening to us talk about video games, and we love you and appreciate you so much.
Okay, final remarks from me. Let's see. If you love video games, that's good.
Very, very, very insightful.
Very profound right there,
Sometimes you have these amazing, profound moments, and then sometimes you're just like,
that's how I do. That's how I do.
That's why I love you so much.
I love you too. Anyway, all right. See you in the next one, guys.
Bye.
Oh, wait. Before we go, let's let them know where we're at, where we're available.
Oh, fuck. Okay, there's a lot.
It's expanded.
We are available on YouTube, Spotify, Breaker, Radio Public, Overcaster, is that other one?
Overcast.
Overcast.
Hold up. Wait a minute. I can actually...
Google Podcasts.
Let me just pull it up
here.
We
have a whole Excel spreadsheet at this point.
Yeah, I needed to make an Excel sheet just to keep up with this stuff. Just give me a second. So... let's see. Okay, we are.
God, Charles. They've already stopped listening at this point, probably.
Probably, but look, we're gonna
do our job anyway.
Yeah, we're gonna tell you.
We committed. We committed to this.
Okay, here's where we're. So
we are available on YouTube.
And please like and subscribe on YouTube. We are on Anchor. Please follow us on Spotify. We're on Google Podcasts, Breaker,
Pocket Casts. That sounds like a sex toy.
Radio Public.
Overcast,
and on social media we are on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
And if there's any social media I don't know about that you kids know about out there, you young kids, Tell me about them social media sites I can sign up for.
Look, at this point, we just gonna make it easy. Our web presence is big enough to just Google us. Just type in Jug O Sip on Google and you'll find all the shit.
Yeah, guys, sorry.
you need.
At this point, just type in Jug O apostrophe Sip podcast
on Google, and then you'll be good to go.
Yeah, you can find us anywhere, and then you can find more about Charles and I individually as well.
Right. Okay, now we can say goodbye.
All right, bye.
Bye. See you later. See you in the next one.